The first thing I bought was a 6-foot Texaco sign, porcelain double-sided. From then on, it just went. People have them in their houses, and they have them in their smokehouses. They have them where they lay their wood on them, or nailed on the barns to stop up holes and everything else. So it's a unique. That's one of the things that's so fascinating is finding them, and then negotiating to get them. I like negotiating. I was a real estate agent for 48 years, so that's in my blood. Started out collecting signs, and then 4 or 5 years after that, I started in the pump business. I always wanted one that came off of our old grocery store down here where I was raised up. It's one of those hand pumped, and I always wanted that, and I didn't get that one, but I got one just like it. And I restored it myself, and I never restored another one because it was a job. I realized how hard it was, and I learned a lesson. So I got somebody else to restore them from then on. That pump was around 1920, and it was hand done. You had to pump it out. They had the tanks in the ground, but you had to pump the gas out, and you could see it in the glass above, and it had the numbers there from 1 to 10, so you could pump out ever how many gallons you want, and then it would gravity flow into your car or truck or tractor or whatever you had there. And later on, some of them started putting electricity on them themselves so they'd have a light, on it. But they didn't have a lot of electricity back then, especially out in rural areas. There wasn't any electricity down there on that pump then. I'd say probably somewhere around maybe the middle 20s, they went electric. And they had pumps, electric pumps, and had lights in them then. But I think it'd probably be the middle 20s, because the visibles, the big one, the hand pumps, were around 18 to 20. And I think probably we could safely say around 23 to 25, 1925. But after a few years went by, they changed over to the smaller pumps. And people didn't like the smaller ones because you couldn't see the gas going in like you could the visible. And then they finally, that eyepiece you put on them, it has the marble in it or the fan, people could see that, that's all that's for. And people were happy about that, so they stuck with that for several years. My favorite one I still have. It's a fry pump, it's a visible, it's a 1924, and it's the prettiest one I ever had. And I may have it sold also. But that's the prettiest one, and the rarest one is the Bowser pump. We're not sure exactly, but somewhere around 1958 to in the early 60s, they made this. And it's a twin pump. It has a pump on both sides, where you could do the aisles and you could pump up on either side and still get your gas. It wasn't that you had to pull that hose a long ways, depending on if you had the other kind of pumps. And that pump I still have, and it's the rarest one. That there's nobody in Tennessee that has one that I know of. We cannot find it. We've had several people search and see, but a lot of pumps down around in Alabama, and nobody knows one down there, and there's a lot of them up in the Pennsylvania area. And I've had people come in from Pennsylvania and say they couldn't find one up there either. So we don't know of any. I don't know of another pump like that. But the people that made the gas pumps, Bennett, Kokine, Wayne, Gilbarco, Bowser, all made pumps for different stations. They'd make them for Shell or anybody that wanted them. And everybody had that kind of pump. That's how come there's so many of them, different ones, different brands. I've probably had gas pumps from almost every brand of gas there are. Over the years, I've had pumps from just about all kinds of stations, like Texaco, Esso, City Service, Sinclair, Guff, Richfield, Mobil, Crown, Red Ace. All these were popular around in my area when I was a kid. I have a Shell pump. It's called the Wayne 60. Wayne pump out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, made the pump, and it looks just like the Empire State Building. So it's a very collectible. People really like that. You don't see as many of them, but they're very collectible. Well, that Sinclair is a Bennett. Bennett made it. But it's made just like the rest of them as far as inside's concerned. Now, that big pump is awfully heavy, so I have him take all that out because People, it's too heavy for people to put in their man caves or their dens or wherever they want to put them. They're just too heavy to mess with, and people won't buy them. If you buy a restored pump today, and it's in a restored condition good, they run the price range from anywhere from $995 to $29,000. So in that range, but most of them, the collectible people, they run anywhere from $23,000 to $3,000. But there are some people collect that have a little money, so they buy the extra. There's a man about 5 miles from here that's got a huge house, and he's got one in every room, even in his master bedroom. Now I tried that, but my wife, she's against that.